Oh, hello. Welcome to the 2013 Hundie Challenge. Today we're going to be discussing The Days of Wine and Roses by Nathaniel Hawthorne. Dee-doo-dee-doo-doo, dee-doo-doo-doo-dee-doo-doo-doo-doo. Dee-doo-dee-doo-doo-dee-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. The Day of the Locust. Sounds kind of like a 1950s B sci-fi movie. It was not, although I don't really know what the title referred to. It was set in the 30s in Hollywood, and I don't usually like, it's become real trendy now for TV shows to kind of pull back the curtain on Hollywood and, show us what goes on behind the scenes. But I don't really care for those episodes because they're usually making fun of things that only like Hollywood insiders would get, or maybe I would sort of infer from context, like, oh, okay, agents are sleazy, ha ha ha. Like Argo was just the Best Picture winner for a movie like that, but I kind of feel like Argo walked you through the paces and explained who this person is and who that person is. I was a little afraid that Day of the Locust was going to be like one of these more latter-day TV shows. It was actually kind of a dirge to failure. I'd have to go back and double check, but I think everybody in it was failed or failing or just kind of a complete failure in life at this point. Certainly that seemed to be the through line. The main character, we don't really get to know him. He's kind of like Nick in The Great Gatsby. We don't get all that much out of him. But he's a painter, like a background painter or something in Hollywood. They didn't really go into his job a whole lot, except for here and there, and the great piece that he paints at the end, which is not called The Day of the Locust. I guess maybe the implication is that all people are locusts. There's kind of a big crowd scene in the end that suggests that crowds are, monstrous, even if individuals are. I don't know. I'm not going to guess. So he's kind of not doing as well. I think he's not doing proper painting, the way some artists would feel. Then there's this failed kind of vaudeville troupe kind of guy who sells silver polish, Harry, and his daughter is a not up-and-coming young actress. But everybody in the book, rather, that's not related to her is obsessed with her. So the main character and then this other character, Homer Simpson, I don't know if it's any relation. Probably not, if the stories of how the Simpsons were created are true. So Homer Simpson is this failed, again, accountant or something for a hotel, and he moves out to Hollywood to get some sun, and he kind of becomes the lapdog of the not really very successful pretend actress Faye. The main character, Todd, because he calls him Toddy a lot, Homer calls him Toddy, he's also fallen for Faye, but Faye doesn't care about him at all. Homer's fallen for her, and the person that she really cares for is Early, this cowboy who was a failure as a cowboy and is not doing all that well in California playing cowboys, but he does rape her. And he hooks up with another cowboy, Miguel, who breeds cocks for cockfighting, and they all end up living at Homer's house because Homer's kind of a doormat. So everybody that's kind of in this orbit around this one woman is either completely ruined because of her, or maybe it's just that they are all in various states of ruination and they sort of end up circling around her. And then, there were two big interesting set pieces. One was a recreation of the Battle of Waterloo for a movie, ostensibly for a movie, that turns out to be a great big failure because the scenery collapses. So they spent all these millions and millions, or, I guess whatever the equivalent of that price was at the time, on all the costumes, and they went over like every unit that was in the Battle of Waterloo. And the whole shoot failed because this one piece of scenery at the end collapsed. And then the other big important set piece was at the very end, after Faye had left Homer. They weren't even really an item. She just left. And he was just wandering around like a lunatic. Todd sees him wandering into a crowd, and then he beats up this kid that was annoying him, and then the crowd turns on him. So I guess the crowd is the Locust. I don't know. I knew I said I wasn't going to talk about it, but I don't know. This was an interesting piece. I'm glad it wasn't what I was talking about before, kind of let's look at, agents are slimy and all that boring shit that Hollywood writers seem to feel ordinary people are going to relate to. We don't. Only other Hollywood people care about that. It was more about kind of the drips and the dregs and the bottom feeders, the cast-offs of the studio system. So, it was pretty interesting, and it was a short read. Thanks for tuning in. Next time, I think we'll be looking at The Secret Agent by Joseph Conrad. Thanks for tuning in.